So, Ella, just first of all, thank you so much for chatting to us today. Just first of all, can you introduce yourself and kind of a little bit about you?
Yeah, so my name's Ella. I'm 23. Currently play for Trailfinders Women. I was grew up and was raised in Belgium, in Brussels. When I turned 18, I moved to the UK to learn English and to play rugby, which was my dream and it still is. I took a trial for Harlequins and Gareth Street at the time picked me, which was great. Played for Quins for 4 years and then moved on to playing for Trailfinders. Alongside that, I played for Belgium Sevens, which was amazing as well. And today yeah, still play for Trailfinders, coach as well. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, and obviously the here to talk about Offload, your new kind of business venture platform. Kind of what, just essentially, what is Offload? Obviously, I know a little bit about what it is, but kind of for the people listening, just what is Offload?
Yes. So Offload is an online platform that connects players, female rugby players, with clubs, unions, and universities or colleges around the world. So the idea is that you have your rugby future in your own hands. So you create your profile as strong as you can, highlights games you've been in, positions, weight, height, clubs you've been at, as much as you can. So then clubs can then come and recruit you, or you can get in touch with the club. The idea is that it reduces the barrier of like knowing people in the right clubs. So you come on the platform and then the rest is there. So anything that's there is available to you as a player is completely free. And then you get in touch with the clubs or you can apply for offers as well, which clubs can post. So yeah, Offload is a recruiting platform. It is called Offload Agency, but I see it more as a network than an agency.
Mhm. And kind of what was your inspiration originally? Kind of where did the idea come from for Offload?
There's two things that really triggered the idea. So the first one was obviously my own experience. Coming to the UK was, I think I got very lucky, especially taking the trial for Quins. So I knew I wanted to go away and play rugby. Um, Staying home wasn't really an option because my family is very academically driven. So my three siblings are all doctors, and staying at home and not studying just yet was it's just sort of heavy environment in the house and just not very good. So what I did is I sent emails to coaches that I had previously when I was under 12, under 13, and so on. And so I got someone that worked at the Stoop, and that woman knew that there was an open day at Quinn's. So I think I got extremely lucky, but I did end up going to that um open day. And then this season for us finishes very early. So if we don't make top four, we're done on the 21st of Feb, which is unseen. And so I thought, right, I've got about 5 months to, yes, have a very big preseason, but also potentially go and play in another country. So I was like, fine, I'm gonna try and get in touch with the Super W in Australia. But again, very difficult to find the right contacts, very difficult to speak to someone. So I tried through people that I knew that play there, and still the emails just don't get delivered, or takes 2, 3 months for someone to answer an email. When you message a club on Instagram, it often goes unopened for ages, probably still is at the moment that we speak. And so it just never went anywhere. And then it ended up being, so I started this in June last year, only had an answer in about November, October, November. And it was a little bit late in terms of, okay, so actually I've made other plans now. Um, but yeah, so it was really difficult. And although I knew the people that were in those clubs, or I knew someone that knew someone, it was still very difficult. So that's the first thing that I want to, the first barrier that I want to break down with Offload is actually it's a lot easier to get in touch with clubs, and as long as you build the right rugby CV, then you can go ahead and what I say is play your dream. It's the slogan. It's what we go for.
Mhm.
And then flip side, where it came from was my dad for my birthday got me a little notepad. It's right here. He was like, "Okay, this is a business idea. It's um how do you bring players to the PWR? Because the PWR is the best league in the world." He was like, "How can you, especially the French league, how can you increase the level at which the French players play and the rest of the world, so then Six Nations World Cups become more competitive. Um, and I was like, okay, that's a really good idea, but why just towards the PWR? Like it could be there's a whole market out there for female rugby players, and we've often been overlooked or just put aside. And I think, yeah, there is so much out there for us. So yeah, I want to help players help themselves by just creating a profile again, fully free, and then just start speaking to clubs.
And you obviously you mentioned there that about that note, but kind of when did the first proper right, I'm going to go do this kind of come about for offload?
I was in Italy in the off season, at my friend's wedding, and I was stuck on a train for 6 hours. It was 35 degrees. There was no internet, no nothing, no aircon. I was just sort of stuck with my thoughts, and I had this book with me, and I was like, I know how much my dad cares about my rugby and how much he wants it to work, and I was like, how can I make this work? And then alongside that, I had just finished my studies, so I studied business management at Surrey, and I was like, how can I start working in what I studied, but then make it fit with rugby? And so I just thought and thought and thought and wrote and scribbled, and eventually the idea came. Obviously, it didn't come out as what it is today, uh, because some things were unrealistic, some things were not actually useful. But then by speaking to people, by speaking with the person who helps me develop the website, managed to create something that hopefully is easy to use and easy to understand.
Mm. You mentioned your dad there, just kind of who else kind of being your supporters through this and kind of getting offload to the launch stage?
I say the rugby world in general, female rugby players are just incredibly passionate about their sports, and anyone I've asked to, sort of create a profile or share or speak about it, I have done that, and that's incredibly useful. And there's my housemates that all also support me very much. And then my family, even though they don't really understand, I think what the what the purpose is and what rugby is, they do support me in what I do. So yeah, family, friends, obviously, very important.
And obviously you're at Trailfinders now, kind of have they been any help in terms of just yeah, and have they been any help in terms of support and stuff?
Yeah, yeah, I think like, well, I back my idea because it's a good idea, and I know it sort of was, but my club, um, Barney the coach and Jojo the manager have always kind of helped me answering questions of like what it is actually that you need as a manager, what is actually that you need as a coach. And so asking them those questions, they've always been there to answer them for me. And always like supporting me and pushing me. Like if we had I don't know, a meeting before a training session, they were like, okay, just present it to the girls and then get them on the platform, like always giving me the opportunities to do that.
Mm. And obviously it's kind of 11 days in as we're talking now into offload being launched, kind of what's kind of the take up being from players and clubs, etc.
It's fairly good. I think now my challenge is because it's free for players and because clubs are meant to be getting a membership to access a database of players. It's like cat and mouse. Like I need to grow the player base, but then the player want to come because there's clubs, but then the clubs want to come because there's players. So it's like, how do I then build like this simultaneously? It has been very good. In about a week, I think we had five clubs and 75 players, 65 players. And I'm challenging myself to, in 3 months, get 500 players and as many clubs as possible, obviously.
And just kind of how have you found the balance in running the business and also kind of still being an athlete at the top level?
I don't really have a balance. I sort of go all out and sometimes often burn myself. But I'm incredibly passionate about what I do, and I think when you have that feeling about something, it just doesn't really matter how many hours you put in or what hours you have to wake up or go to bed because I'm speaking to someone that lives on the other side of the world. Um, I am, yeah, as I said, very passionate and really believe that it is useful and that it will work. On the other side, the rugby's helped me, getting at the house, moving still, and like what triggered offload was my rugby. So like that is still what keeps the fire burning. And I absolutely love playing. So um, yeah, it's a balance to find, but definitely one that I think I have found
And you
going
mentioned
all
you
out
kind
to both.
of you mentioned your kind of goal in terms of signups, but kind of what would success you say would you want to get if your player profiles, obviously your player profile is on offload, but kind of what would you want to get from that kind of is in your playing career?
Well, I think at the moment, it's like if I had a year where I'm like, okay, I want to travel, like could I myself use that platform to go and travel? That would be amazing. Play rugby and I've been in touch with a lot of Japanese clubs. So hopefully in the next 2, 3 months we see those appear on the platform and with Hong Kong as well, that would be really good. So that's something that I want to do, still travel with my rugby. So hopefully that, but then also it's like I want standards for women athletes, for female rugby players to increase. And so therefore, so if you look at the website, you'll see that on a club profile, all their players appear. Um, and it says on the player card if their contract is ending soon or not. And so if you can contact them to recruit them. And one of the coaches said to me, he was like, I don't want my players to be on a window shop like this. Like I don't want them to be like, hey, I'm available. But then a player wouldn't want to leave if they were in good conditions or if you looked after them well and if they were truly happy. So then that then pushes a club to create a better environment and to look after their players and perhaps to increase, yeah, how well, not increase, but like develop how well they look after the players. And it's not like, and then it doesn't necessarily become who you know or what you know. It then becomes like how well a club treats their players and how much they want to stay in that club.
Mhm. And just kind of last one for me, kind of how would you, what kind of message would you give to female players to kind of get signed up for offload?
There is no downside. Like it takes 5 minutes. You create your profile, and then if you're not going to use it now, fine, but it might be useful in the future. And at the moment, I am calling all the PWR players to come and sign up, and also Champ players to come and sign up, to really create that database of players, and for me to then go and find loads of clubs around the world that are ready to ready to recruit. Um, yeah, that would be my message.
Lots of chats after games with the players getting signed up then.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect. So Ella, thank you so much for chatting to us today and best of luck for offload going forward.
Thank you so much.